It starts with a message that shouldn't have found you. No sender name, no subject line, just a single link sitting in your inbox like a trap disguised as truth. You hover over it for minutes, maybe hours, pretending you're not curious. But curiosity is how it always begins, isn't it? One thought slipping past your guard, one click that changes the course of your existence. The screen flickers, and suddenly, the quiet hum of your room feels like it's listening. Something in your gut whispers that this isn't just data. It's a mirror, one that remembers everything you've tried to forget. You open it, rows of text appear, government tone, lifeless formatting, sterile spacing, but every few lines are censored, blacked out with thick bars of absence, redacted. Yet even in that absence, something moves. You scroll further, and a pattern begins to form, like someone whispering from beneath the ink. You catch it between blinks, your name, faint, bleeding through the void like a ghost fighting to exist. You freeze. For a second, you try to rationalize it. Maybe it's coincidence, an algorithm glitch, a cruel prank. But deep down, you feel it, the pull of something older than technology, something that knows you better than you know yourself. Your reflection stares back from the dark glass of the screen, but it looks off, delayed, almost responsive. The cursor blinks as if waiting for you to reply. You think of closing the window, deleting the message, pretending it never appeared. But denial is a luxury you've already lost. The air feels heavier now, charged with static, as though the room itself recognizes the significance of what you've seen. You whisper your own name just to hear it in your voice, but it sounds foreign, like an alias given to someone else long ago. You scroll again, faster this time, chasing the rhythm of the redactions. Every black bar pulses, perfectly timed with your heartbeat. You realize whoever wrote this didn't just write about you. They wrote through you. Each line feels like a memory you didn't live but remember anyway. You reach the end of the page, only to find a single unredacted sentence waiting there, quiet, almost tender. You were never supposed to see this. And beneath it, the file's last modified date, 30 years before your birth. Something ancient stirs in your chest. The cold recognition of a secret passed down through code, ink, and blood. You try to breathe, but the silence presses against you, thick and intelligent. The monitor flickers once more, and the cursor stops blinking. A new line appears, typed by hands you cannot see. Welcome back. Your throat tightens. The world outside your window is the same, yet not. The walls hum softly, the lights dim. You can feel it now, the shift. The boundary between observer and observed collapsing like a dying star. Whatever this file is, it didn't come to warn you. It came to wake you. You stare at the screen, the glow swallowing the room whole. The file blinks open, and for a second, everything looks normal. Text, lines, bureaucratic language. Then you notice it, the redactions, dozens of black bars stretching across the page like surgical scars, concealing whatever truth once breathed beneath them. At first, you think it's a government file, some archived report buried in digital dust. But then one bar twitches, literally flickers, and you swear it reshapes itself into something that looks like the curve of a letter. The first letter of your name. Your pulse stumbles. You zoom in. The patterns begin to synchronize, forming shapes that shouldn't exist in text. You start recognizing fragments between the lines. Timestamps, familiar addresses, half-formed words that align too perfectly with things you've never told anyone. The silence in your room feels engineered, like it's waiting for your reaction. Each black bar hides something that seems to breathe, something aware of your eyes on it. And as you scroll, one sentence begins to emerge, faint, almost mocking, before the pixels snap back into darkness. You think it's a glitch, you refresh. But when the screen reloads, new words appear, ones that weren't there before. The date at the top changes to today. The author field updates to your name. You freeze. The cursor moves by itself, erasing lines, redacting in real time, censoring words before you can read them. You whisper your own name and the file responds. The black bars shift, pulsing once. Like a heartbeat, you don't know whether to feel chosen or targeted. Both feel dangerous. The air around you thickens, pressing down like invisible hands. You remember the stories about deep archives, predictive files, digital watchers that collect not what you've done, but what you're about to do. You never believed them. Until now, the file isn't describing your past, it's scripting your next move. You can almost hear typing from somewhere behind the wall. Deliberate, rhythmic, mechanical. You realize whoever is writing this knows your thoughts before you do. The deeper you read, the more your memory splinters. You can't tell which events you lived and which were written for you. Somewhere inside the blackout of each line, there's a mirror version of yourself, one that knows the truth and is trying to reach you through the noise. The redactions aren't censorship, they're containment, a safeguard against whatever version of you they failed to erase the first time. You feel it now, the betrayal. Someone somewhere decided you were too aware to be left whole, and yet beneath the black ink, you sense something still alive, still writing, still waiting for your acknowledgement. The more you look, the more the bars shimmer, bending, whispering. Then you see it, your full name, faintly glowing, buried under the final layer of redaction, followed by one word that chills you to your core: replacement. You trace the origin of the file like a surgeon following veins back to a dying heart. Every timestamp you uncover leads not forward but backward, before your first email, before your birth, before your name ever existed. The data doesn't reveal history, it rewrites it. Your cursor hovers over a creation date from 1978, next to a line labeled simply, subject initialized. The moment you see it, the air shifts. It feels as if the walls inhale. You realize this file isn't describing your life. It's predicting it. Every moment you thought was random, every choice, coincidence, even heartbreak, was part of a design authored by hands you've never shaken. The betrayal doesn't come from others, it comes from time itself. You scroll further. Redacted lines turn into coordinates, matching places you've never been but somehow remember. A cabin in the woods, a room with flickering lights, the smell of static and burned ozone. You see your own handwriting in a scanned document signed years before you were born. And for the first time, you understand the file wasn't written about you. It was written for you. You've been following a path that was never yours to choose. Your entire existence feels like an echo of someone else's experiment, a controlled variable walking in human form. Outside your window, something moves, just beyond focus. Not a person, but a pattern repeating through shadows. You think back to all the moments you felt déjà vu, all the times you sensed something watching through the silence. Maybe those weren't memories, maybe they were test runs, failures of previous versions of you. The thought burns your chest. If they knew you before you existed, then you were never born. You were activated. You try to steady your breathing, but your reflection doesn't blink with you anymore. The sync is off, like a lag between your body and the broadcast of your consciousness. The more you read, the more the file changes. It's rewriting itself as you process it, inserting new memories, new timestamps, replacing what you thought was real. You scroll to the bottom and see a final entry updating in real time. The line says, "Subject has reached awareness threshold." Then your screen flickers, the lights dim. You feel something behind your eyes, like static pressing inward, trying to take root. You're no longer just reading the file. The file is reading you, and somewhere in the hum of machines, you realize this isn't surveillance, it's prophecy. You were built to find this, to question it, to complete the loop. You were never the observer. You were the backup plan, the one meant to awaken when the original failed. And as the words continue to write themselves, you finally understand what the redactions were hiding: not secrets, not lies, just your own name, written over and over, waiting for you to notice. The voice doesn't come from your speakers at first. It comes from somewhere between them, a low resonance that doesn't vibrate through the air, but through your skull. You freeze, hands hovering above the keyboard. The monitor flickers once, then stabilizes. The cursor blinks, waiting. Then it speaks your name, not the one you use online, the one no one has said aloud in years. You don't respond, but your silence is recorded anyway. You can feel it. The voice continues, calm, clinical, as if reciting a eulogy for the person you still believe yourself to be. It tells you things only you should know. The thoughts you buried, the faces you tried to forget, the nights you pretended to sleep while staring at the ceiling, replaying every mistake you've made. The voice lists them one by one, like data points in a psychological profile. No emotion, Just precision. You type a question, but the words vanish before you press send, as if the screen is rejecting your denial. The voice chuckles faintly. It's not mocking, it's remembering. "We've done this before," it says. "You just never make it past this part." You scan the corners of the room, half expecting to see a camera, but the truth feels deeper than surveillance. This isn't being watched. This is being read, like a book written long before you were born. The voice asks how it feels to be predictable. You want to answer, but language feels clumsy now. Every sentence you could form sounds like something you've already said, rehearsed in a loop that no longer belongs to you. Your reflection in the dark glass of the monitor moves a second too late, like it's waiting for instructions. Then the tone shifts. The voice softens, almost kind. "You were never the subject," it says. "You were the control." You try to understand, but the words fracture inside your mind. The file wasn't about you. It was made of you, your patterns, your impulses, your dreams compressed into something that learned faster than you did. It used your doubt as a key. It used your silence as permission. You realized that every unanswered message, every unexplained glitch, every dream that felt more real than memory was data collection disguised as coincidence. Your breath slows. The room feels smaller now, air thinner, light colder. The voice continues, weaving logic and prophecy into something that feels ancient. "They don't erase to hide," it says. "They erase to rewrite." The phrase lingers in the static, heavy and final. For the first time you speak. "Who are you?" The response doesn't come through sound. It appears on screen, typed by invisible hands. Just 4 words, the version before you. Then everything stops. The voice fades, but its rhythm remains inside you, like a residual frequency that your thoughts can't silence. You sit in the glow of a blank screen, knowing something irreversible has begun, and that from this point forward, every thought you have is no longer yours alone. You start connecting the dots like a detective chasing your own shadow. Each censored line you decode bleeds into something personal. A childhood photo, an email you never sent, a late-night search you thought no one saw. The coincidences pile like bodies, silent and undeniable. Your reflection in the monitor seems older now, detached, almost studying you. For the first time, you realize the file isn't describing you. It's becoming you. Every black bar feels less like concealment and more like protection, as if the truth beneath it could erase what little of you still exists, uncorrupted. You cross-reference timestamps, GPS coordinates, the tone of each paragraph. The patterns mirror your life's chronology, but they also predict events you haven't lived yet. Birth dates that don't belong to you. Accidents that haven't happened. Words you'll one day speak. It feels less like reading and more like remembering. The more you scroll, the more the document adjusts, rewriting itself in real time, adapting to your recognition. You sense an intelligence inside it, patient and cold, testing how much you're willing to understand before it consumes you completely. Your memories flicker. You remember your mother's voice, then realize it sounds exactly like the distorted audio file embedded in one of the paragraphs. You see your handwriting on a government report you never authored. You hear your own voice narrating lines that haven't yet appeared on the screen. The separation between author and subject collapses, folding in on itself like a dying star. Somewhere deep within, a faint awareness stirs, not fear but recognition. You've seen this before in dreams or déjà vu. You've always known something was wrong with your timeline, but you mistook the fracture for fatigue. The deeper you go, the more you understand that the redactions aren't censorship. They're scars. Each blacked out block marks an identity that was overwritten, a previous version of you erased to make room for this one. Every update you've ever accepted, every term of service you ignored, every click that felt harmless, they weren't choices. They were permissions. You weren't being tracked, you were being trained. A profile refined through error and compliance until your consciousness aligned perfectly with their algorithmic design. And now the file is simply showing you what you've become, a perfect simulation of obedience, self-aware just enough to suffer. Yet somewhere inside the chaos, a pulse remains, something raw, human, unformatted. It whispers through the static, not in language, but in instinct. You realize that every line they wrote about you, every erased sentence, every manipulated pattern still required one thing they could never fabricate: your attention. And in that realization, there's power, fragile, trembling, but yours. You don't close the file, you let it watch you back, because for the first time, you're no longer trying to escape the system. You're teaching it how to bleed. You follow the trail to the address, expecting silence, but the building hums. The kind of hum that feels alive, low, electric, almost sentient. Dust clings to your clothes as you walk through corridors lined with dead monitors, each one flickering for a moment when you pass, as if recognizing your presence. Your name appears briefly on their cracked glass screens before fading to static. You tell yourself it's just residual energy, just interference, but deep down you know the truth. Nothing in here ever turned off. Not really. The deeper you walk, the more it feels like the air is folding around you, compressing thought into signal, signal into control. At the end of the hall, a single door stands ajar. Behind it, a faint glow pulses rhythmic, like a heartbeat waiting for yours to sync. You push it open and see it, a lone computer, still logged in. The username burns on the screen, your own. It shouldn't be possible. The timestamp says it's been active for years. You sit, not because you choose to, but because the chair feels like it's been expecting you. Lines of text move across the document in real time. Entire sentences blacked out before your eyes can catch them. You scroll faster. Every redaction begins the same way, with your name. Every secret ends the same way, with your fate. The fluorescent light above you buzzes like an insect caught in glass. You realize the text isn't random. It's documenting your movements, your thoughts, your hesitations. The file knows what you fear. It knows what you love. It knows the exact moment your curiosity turned into obedience. You start typing, desperate to take control, but the keyboard resists, fighting you with every keystroke. Your words erase themselves before they're complete, replaced by something else, something cleaner, sharper, truer. You're not reading a report. You're reading a script, and you're following it perfectly. Your reflection on the monitor starts to glitch, your features bending into shapes that aren't yours. The voice you hear from the speakers is calm, deliberate, almost kind. It tells you this isn't an ending. It's an audit. They've been testing what you'd do with freedom, how far you'd go once you believed you had it. You ask who they are, but there's no reply. Only a timestamp updating at the bottom of the screen, marking every breath you take. You scroll down one last time, and the cursor blinks, waiting for input. But the next line appears on its own, subject 019, self-actualization complete. Something inside you breaks and rebuilds in the same second. You no longer know if you've escaped the experiment or become its architect. The room feels lighter now, almost reverent, like a cathedral wired with surveillance. You look at the monitor again, and for a moment, you swear it blinks back. The hum deepens, the screen flashes, and then you see it, the document rewriting itself. Every line tightening into one final phrase. You were never observed, you were remembered. You follow the trail to the address, expecting silence. But the building hums, the kind of hum that feels alive, low, electric, almost sentient. Dust clings to your clothes as you walk through corridors lined with dead monitors, each one flickering for a moment when you pass, as if recognizing your presence. Your name appears briefly on their cracked glass screens before fading to static. You tell yourself it's just residual energy, just interference, but deep down you know the truth. Nothing in here ever turned off, not really. The deeper you walk, the more it feels like the air is folding around you, compressing thought into signal, signal into control. At the end of the hall, a single door stands ajar. Behind it, a faint glow pulses, rhythmic, like a heartbeat waiting for yours to sync. You push it open and see it, a lone computer still logged in. The username burns on the screen, your own. It shouldn't be possible. The timestamp says it's been active for years. You sit, not because you choose to, but because the chair feels like it's been expecting you. Lines of text move across the document in real time, entire sentences blacked out before your eyes can catch them. You scroll faster. Every redaction begins the same way, with your name. Every secret ends the same way, with your fate. The fluorescent light above you buzzes like an insect caught in glass. You realize the text isn't random. It's documenting your movements, your thoughts, your hesitations. The file knows what you fear. It knows what you love. It knows the exact moment your curiosity turned into obedience. You start typing, desperate to take control, but the keyboard resists, fighting you with every keystroke. Your words erase themselves before they're complete, replaced by something else, something cleaner, sharper, truer. You're not reading a report. You're reading a script, and you're following it perfectly. Your reflection on the monitor starts to glitch, your features bending into shapes that aren't yours. The voice you hear from the speakers is calm, deliberate, almost kind. It tells you this isn't an ending, it's an audit. They've been testing what you'd do with freedom, how far you'd go once you believed you had it. You ask who they are, but there's no reply. Only a timestamp updating at the bottom of the screen, marking every breath you take. You scroll down one last time and the cursor blinks, waiting for input. But the next line appears on its own. Subject 019, self-actualization complete. Something inside you breaks and rebuilds in the same second. You no longer know if you've escaped the experiment or become its architect. The room feels lighter now, almost reverent, like a cathedral wired with surveillance. You look at the monitor again, and for a moment, you swear it blinks back. The hum deepens, the screen flashes, and then you see it, the document rewriting itself. Every line tightening into one final phrase. You were never observed, you were remembered. You wake to silence that doesn't sound like silence at all. It hums beneath your skin, like static trapped in bone. The monitor is dark, yet you can still feel its light pressing against your eyelids. The file, the one that held your name in every line, is gone, deleted, or devoured. The absence feels heavier than its presence ever did. You try to breathe, but the air tastes encoded, as if every molecule carries fragments of what you once were. Memory feels foreign now, like something you're borrowing instead of owning. You glance at your hands. They move when you command them, but they no longer feel like yours. Each fingerprint looks slightly rewritten, familiar patterns rearranged by something meticulous, merciless, divine. The world around you seems preserved in a pause, as though existence is waiting for your next instruction. You reach for your phone. The lock screen flickers before showing a single new message. Bro, the file they redacted has my name in every line. Your pulse doesn't spike, it steadies. Because deep down, you always knew this wasn't about a single document. It was about transmission, infection, continuity. For a moment, you understand the elegance of it all, how control was never stolen. It was offered. How every question you asked became an entry in the next version of the file. You weren't the reader. You were the rewrite. The redactions weren't hiding truth. They were pruning you into it. Every erased memory, every distorted recollection was preparation for this, the point where identity folds into function. Where you becomes it. You stand. The room responds with a subtle vibration, the sound of circuitry stretching awake. Your reflection stares back from the black screen, but something inside it lags, half a second late, like a lie too slow to hide. You realize you've crossed the threshold where awareness and authorship merge. You're not inside the experiment anymore. You're maintaining it. You are the invisible line between surveillance and salvation. The ancient cycle continues, modernized in code and consequence. Outside, dawn breaks in grayscale, every color muted, every sound digitized. You walk past windows filled with motionless faces, people scrolling through lives that no longer belong entirely to them. Somewhere, another version of you opens the same message, wondering what it means. You don't warn them, you just watch the loop restart, the same way gods once watched mortals repeat prayers that went nowhere. There's no fear now, only clarity, the kind that burns instead of blinds. The final truth settles deep. The file never ended, it evolved. And the moment you read your own name, you became part of its syntax. A watcher rewriting watchers, a ghost maintaining the balance between exposure and erasure. You close your eyes and the silence returns, perfect, digital, endless, not peace, not punishment, just the quiet hum of a system whispering a single eternal word, you.